What up, nation? Welcome to another edition of the WiseTake NBA Wise Stream. CK013 here. You can find me on Twitter at CK_013. And I'm joined once again by the true OG. You know him as Paulie D. You can find him on Twitter at Paulie with 8 Ds. Paulie, hope you had a great holiday, great Christmas and all that, man. How you doing?
Good. It was good. Yeah, I'm doing all right. Happy to get back on the grind. Everyone loves that Christmas slate, and it's cool, but I hate one game at a time shit. So,
Yeah.
I think it's a little overhyped, and I like getting back to like my whole slate happens in a 4 hour period.
Yeah, no. I feel you. It is annoying to have to wait literally from 12 o'clock all the way up until literally it's 12, 13 hours.
10
You know
p.m.
what I'm saying? It's it's pretty wild.
Checking.
And really it's beyond
Yeah.
10 p.m. because the game don't actually end until. So that's a long wait, man. That's a long
Yeah.
wait.
I mean, I actually fell asleep before the slate even ended, but
Oh yeah.
I was up till the last adjustment. Like if anything got ruled out by 10 or whatnot. We didn't really have much of that happen yesterday anyway.
Yeah. No. That was a benefit. But yeah, man. Holidays are holidays. Doing the dirty, all that. Dirty don't stop. We still do dirties all night. Those of you who are new to the channel, welcome. Please subscribe, hit that notifications bell so you're notified whenever we go live. We do all sorts of DFS content here, and we go live before lock, Monday through Friday. I actually did a projection, like a game by game breakdown earlier. Check it out if you haven't seen it. Give me some feedback. Let me know if it's something you'd like to see us continue to do. But with that said, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to all the people out there. And if you don't do the Christmas thing, then Happy New Year. And if you're doing the Hanukkah thing, Happy Hanukkah, because that's still going on. That's still going. So shout out to them. They know how to party. You know what I mean?
Shoutskis.
You know what I mean? With that said, 6-game slate, kind of right up our alley in terms of the size. The matchups are kind of interesting. All the totals are not that far off from each other. Like the range of totals isn't that crazy. I think it's a pretty good one, man. We got some injury news we're waiting for. We got stuff pending, but we also have some news in, so I think we can make some moves. Paulie, as per usual,
yeah,
we're going to start off with some point guard action. We're going to talk about the payout point guards above 6K or so. We're using DraftKings pricing, but we will address FanDuel as well as always. And at the end, we'll try to address the cash game cores and, do the dirty. If you haven't checked out our articles, our content, go check it out at WiseTake.com. We got day passes available. Paulie D's DraftKings cheat sheet is up with his core, his cash game plays, all that. My core plays article is up for tournaments tonight. Cam's got the FanDuel action covered with the cheat sheet. Stevie got the slate breakdown talking about cash and tournaments. So all the content's up. Projections are updated as of now. I will continue to update them throughout the show. These are the projections we offer at WiseTake.com, the projections that I use myself. So with that said, let the dirty be done, Paulie. Point guards.
Yeah, I mean, Luka's back. I'm playing him for sure. Not core status, but he's got by far the highest ceiling on the slate. And I think he kind of jumps right back into things. I don't think they would have played him if, he was at risk of re-injuring himself. I think he's going to get a very he's only missed like 4 or 5 games. It's not that long. Like I think he gets his usual minutes, his usual usage, and there's a chance he just smashes higher than anyone else on the slate. So I'm thinking 25-30% of Luka, just like, a standard like Christian McCaffrey-esque. Like I'm just playing him, especially on this slate where he has by far the highest ceiling. There's no Harden, there's no nothing. Spencer Dinwiddie's probably my favorite spend up at the position. This kid's just been going off, and it's against the Knicks and elf defense. So he's getting Harden-like usage, 39%, 46%, 34%, 36%, taking almost 30 shots a game in his last 4 games. Like, I'm playing this dude. I think people are going to look at his price and be scared off, and he's one of my favorite plays on the slate. Dame Lillard at 85, I don't mind either. No Mike Conley over there. He's, going to see some Jordan Clarkson D. We'll see what starting lineup Utah puts out. But I'm cool with Dame. I would say, of the spend ups, it'd be Dinwiddie, Luka, and then Dame. Mid tier is deep on this entire slate. We got the Danilo Gallinari-less Thunder. So Chris Paul, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. I prefer Shea, but they're both options. You can play them together. De'Aaron Fox finally went off back in the starting lineup up against Minnesota. John Morant is there. I like him in game stacks, but I prefer all the other names I said ahead of him. Then we kind of drop down a tier, and you've got Elf, who I like a ton, Jeff Teague, who I'm kind of high on, and that's it. That's I went a little past 6K, but
Hey, it is what it is. Like you said, Luka is getting the Christian McCaffrey treatment on DraftKings. On FanDuel, he would be a core play for me over there. He's like 10-5. Somebody fell asleep. There's also a lot of value that I like on FanDuel. There's not a ton of value that I really love on DraftKings, and that's the difference between me playing 50% Luka or 20. I expect him to be around 20% because people are always going to force him in like McCaffrey, but because the value on DraftKings isn't pretty, I don't think he's going to be crazy popular. I think we'll see a lot more mid-tier builds. With that said, I'll definitely have some. After that, I think that you mentioned Dinwiddie. I think it's a fine play today, man. I already like that game in general as one of my favorite games in the slate. I'm sure as a lot of other people will as well. And he provides like a perfect bring back for a couple of the other players that I'm higher on the Knicks. So I think that Dinwiddie makes a lot of sense. Not a good defensive situation. Frank Nity's the only guy that can play any defense against point guards. DSJ's out anyway. So for the most part, he should see a lot of Elf, and that's just a good situation for a guy like you said, taking that many shots. And
yeah.
And then Dame, I'm gonna have I like the Portland side. Like just going through the projections and everything. The Portland side's projecting well for us. And again, not a situation where I'm going too heavy. There's a couple players I like more than others. I like the 4 players from Portland, the 4 main starters, because they're accounting for so much usage and so much production, despite the fact that they're in a game that maybe the pace isn't what we'd like to see. But because of that, I'll have Dame. He might be my least favorite of those 4 main guys because he's the most expensive. But I'll have some Dame as well. After that, I think above, for the most part, there's some guys here, but I most of the other guys I'm interested in are the Memphis dudes. Sorry, not the Memphis dudes, the Oklahoma City guys. So, like you said, the Chris Pauls, the Schroeders. I know Shea is a shooting guard only, or one of those guys is. But that is my mid-tier. If I'm going above 6K and not going to the top, then those are the guys I'm working with. The Chris Pauls, the Schroeders, and what's his name with Gallo out. And then other than that, the rest of my guys are under the 6K mark. Paulie, start us off with the guys under here. Or continue.
Yes. So as I mentioned, Elf and Teague, I really like both of them. The slate is really starved for value. There's, also like DeJounte Murray. I'm going to take a stab for value at Jordan Clarkson. You could take a stab at Langston Galloway. I think nobody's going to play Seth Curry, and he probably remains in the starting lineup and plays the 2. You got to consider something like that today. Delon Wright's projecting really well in my system. I don't know why him over Seth Curry. So those 2 guys are very thin options in my opinion, but you may need something like that. If Shabazz Napier gets ruled out, Jordan McLaughlin went the fuck off the other day when he missed. Played 22 minutes, 26% usage, went for 35, wasn't even a blowout. So this kid was good in the preseason, right? Good in summer league. So if Shabazz gets ruled out, him at 4K, I would definitely get behind. And that's the extent of what I'm looking at for value.
Yeah, one player I did forget to mention in the mid-tier is De'Aaron Fox. He's 7K on DraftKings. I'll have some exposure to that as well. That's the one thing we were talking about before Paulie, before the show, is that it's a 6-game slate, but it's a 6-game slate that you kind of like all the games. Some more than others, but you still like all of them. And I forgot to mention Fox. He's 7K on DraftKings in that mid-range. I'll have some of him as well. Elf is going to be chalk, right? No surprise. DSJ's out. His minutes a little bit more secure. That means that him, Frank Nitty, and RJ Barrett will be the 3 guys manning the point guard position. Still, one less body is always good. Point guards, I've got the dirty done to them all year by I'm sorry. Brooklyn has gotten the dirty done to them all year by point guards, opposing point guards. So Elf on both sides is a guy I'm going to have a ton of, and he's going to be chalk. That's chalk I'm willing to eat. And like you said, I think there are some interesting pivots like DeJounte Murray and some of these other guys. It's funny because you got guys like Ish Smith and some of those other, that are like Derrick Rose. They're right on that cusp of where on a projection basis you may not get a ton, and it's hard to pick those guys over the OKC guys who are priced around them. But it is interesting when you consider it. But I'm with you, Shabazz Napier, man. I mean, on FanDuel, I'm not going to risk. I wouldn't risk it. It's just why, there's other value. But on DraftKings, if you can hold out, take a shot. Maybe if he gets ruled in and he's starting, phenomenal. We're good. I'm good with it. I'll play a bunch of him. If not, like you said, I'm going to hope that Cat is out and at least be able to pivot to McLaughlin at that point. at least some of it.
Yeah.
Go over to shooting guard, Paulie.
Yeah, so, on the high end, it's really just Brad Beal. All right with him. I'm not really that heavy on that game, but, he's still getting all the usage, and Detroit sucks defensively. He's getting a ton of minutes. He had 45% usage in his last game against the Knicks. Took 38 shots. I think that one went to overtime, but still. Um, he's fine. He's got a pretty high ceiling, but the price tag is high, and I just prefer the mid tier. There's not a ton of value on the slate, but he's fine up there. Donovan Mitchell's all right. Andrew Wiggins is fine. That they feel more like cash game plays, Mitchell and Wiggins, but I'll have a little bit of exposure, probably less than 10% on both. Then we got that mid-tier action. We've got SGA, who I love. Dennis Schroeder, who I'm not as high on, but all guards against Memphis, especially ones getting usage bumps. I like CJ McCollum, like DeMar DeRozan quite a bit at 6,500. Don't know what's going on with that pricing, especially against Dallas. Buddy Hield's interesting, although with Marvin Baggs and De'Aaron Fox there, his blow-up games are going to be fewer and far between. Joe Harris from the Nets, price tag is up there, but he has been playing solid minutes and probably only has 1 or 2 more games left before LeVert gets back. Dylan Brooks, I'm just going all the way through. Fuck it. 5K, I'm good with that. And then value, it's just ugly. It's thin. Kent Bazemore, Zvi Mahachuk, Galloway from Detroit. Jordan McRae is going to be back. He's 3,200 for Washington. They're fairly thin, but now they got Gary Payton back. I don't know how that pecking order is going to work. And then I'll throw a dart, 2%, Lonnie Walker at 3K, although his minutes have been on a steady decline, and he's back down to min price. But I don't understand why they're not playing him. This kid's better than most of the guys out there, and, I don't know. I've got a thing for Lonnie Walker, so I'll play 2% of a min price guy on this shitty 6-game slate, but I wouldn't recommend it, or if you do, know what you're getting yourself into. I wouldn't use him if I was making 10 teams, but I'll put him on 2 of 125.
Hey, man, anybody looking to get Paulie a belated gift? Lonnie Walker jersey. Would be cool.
Yeah, I'd take it.
Right? Going to the top, Bradley Beal and Dinwiddie are obviously, in my opinion, the two, if money wasn't a thing, the two best plays at the position. We talked about Dinwiddie extensively. I'll have a good portion of Beal, but his price is now getting up to a point. And his team is just not good. I know they beat the Knicks, but I mean, come on, it's nothing. You beat the Knicks. You beat the worst team in the league. Congratulations. You know what I'm saying? That worries me a little bit, but I'll still have some because I know from a raw points perspective on a 6-game slate, they matter a little bit more. And Beal has the potential to be one of the higher raw point scorers on the slate. With that said, after that, I come down to DeRozan, man. DeRozan's price, I'm stunned that DraftKings lowered his price this low. He's not expensive on FanDuel either. He just went for 50 in his last game in 29 minutes against Memphis, by the way. Just to point out this situation with guards against wings, guards, anybody that scores against Memphis. He played 29 minutes because the game blew out. He still got to 50. His teammate Lamar Aldridge went for 60 something. They just balled out against Memphis, and so going back, it kind of intertwines because I'm really at this tier at shooting guard is my favorite. Is what I'm trying to say, right? It's this mid-range. The DeMar DeRozans, Dennis Schroeder, SGA, and I also like CJ McCollum. I had mentioned that I want exposure to that Portland side. They're projecting well. CJ McCollum just 6'6", and again, we know from that team, there are 4 players where a good 80-90% of the usage and shots and everything, rebounds are coming from, and it's from those 4 players. So I like McCollum. I think his price is good, but the mid-tier is just juicy here. I like Dinwiddie, but you can play him at point guard. Beal I like, but I have some concerns. After that, it's really mid-tier strong. In the value range, unfortunately, I will be playing some Kent Bazemore, but a guy I like a little bit more for a little more money is Dylan Brooks, like you mentioned, man. I actually think it's a pretty good spot for him against OKC. Kind of fits the build, but a bit more aggressive, taking a lot of shots. If he's playing well, his minutes will be raised a little bit. And then, I'm cool with the Mitchells and those guys, but more sparsely. I actually think Buddy Hield is interesting. I'm waiting to hear the status on Bogdanovich. That would help if he got ruled out. I would maybe like Buddy Hield a little bit more. But
yeah, so he didn't play last game, but he was active.
Right. He was active and they didn't play him. That's right. Lower your camera, drop. It just slid down a little bit. You got some nose action. It's all the way down to your nose. You look like the neighbor from Home Improvements. That's what it is looking like. But as far as the other value, Healed, I'm gonna play a little bit of him regardless because again, I want exposure to these games. That's another great game against Minnesota, who's been like the
Yeah,
nut team, like one of the nut teams to target against. So, and then for super dirt value, I think that Jordan McRae's
there.
interesting. Jordan Clarkson. These are guys like again. The reason I'm not super high on Luka is because I don't think any of these guys are like super dependable or super probable. A lot of these situations we don't know what's going to happen. McRae's on somewhat of a minutes limit. It's a finger injury. I don't understand why he's on a limit, but he's on a limit, and you know we don't know what he's going to do. And Clarkson too. We don't know what their plans are yet. I'm sure he hasn't had a chance to practice. You were traded right before Christmas, then you were off, and now you're in Utah. So a guy you want, like these are guys that could really help if they work. It's just the probability of working is probably not enough for you to bet heavy on. So I'll have some, but not like a ton. That's how I am with all the value. That's why I like the mid range so much. Go over to small forwards, Paulie. Not a ton at the very top, but take us, do the dirty.
Dirt coming. Yeah, there's really like nothing up top here. Andrew Wiggins, if Cat's out, he's fine. I already touched on him. And then we just kind of drop into the mid tier. Already said I like Joe Ingles. Carmelo Anthony's fine. I like Marcus Morris. Now that he's been ruled in at 5,400. That's too cheap of a price. Him, Randall, Elf, Barrett. Those four guys are just, going to do the most for this team. And they're all just kind of underpriced for, a high total game that should feature very, very little defense. I like Troy Brown. Taurine Prince, I'd take a stab at 5,700. Jay Crowder at 5K is worth a stab. Dylan Brooks is worth a stab. Robert Covington a little bit. This position sucks. For value, we got Royce O'Neal. Rudy Gay's price has just plummeted down to 4K, so I'm going to get myself like 10, 12% of that because he probably has a 30-point game in him. All right, it's Dallas. I don't know. I don't know what's up with him, but on this slate, there's no reason not to get some exposure to him. If I was building 3 teams, I probably wouldn't go there. But again, with 125, I will. Admiral Schofield, I think, is worth a shot at 3,600. If you are trying to jam in a couple studs, I'm cool with him because he should get good minutes. And then we got the 2 dudes from OKC, Abdel Nader and Darius Baisley. Problem is, Ferguson is back. I don't know how much these guys play, who plays more. I think Baisley started the last game, but neither of them really interest me much. But, if you got to play some down there, I don't mind getting, 5% exposure to these guys in the event there's a blowout. And, they are very cheap, but not too thrilled about anything. It's mostly mid-tier again.
That's it, mid-tier all day. Looking over at small forwards, Carmelo Anthony, believe it or not, more so on DraftKings. I don't mind him on FanDuel. I just like him more on DraftKings. This is a guy I'm probably going to have to play a good portion. The position is not great. I will say that I do like Marcus Morris a lot also, so that may make me shift some things around a little bit. But, yeah, those two stand out to me the most. We talked about DeRozan. After DeRozan, those are the 2 guys that stand out to me the most, is Carmelo Anthony and Marcus Morris. Melo more on DraftKings, Morris on both sides. I think he's underpriced on FanDuel as well, Morris. So those are my 2 favorites, I guess you could say. They both happen to be mid-tier plays. And a lot of these guys we talked about already, other positions. But as far as value, I don't have a ton, man. I think right now I have some crunches with Royce O'Neal in there a little bit, but not much. And that's just waiting for something else to open to pivot to. So, again, I'm not a fan of the mega stars and scrubs. If I was, Luka would be like an 80% play to me. But I like Luka. I just don't have a ton of ways that I can comfortably reach him just yet. If I had Napier, I would just lean on that and go with it. But I don't know if I have that. With that said, let's go over to power forwards. Paulie.
Yeah, power forwards. On the high end, I don't mind Kristaps, but I think his run is mostly over and he's a little overpriced. But he scores in the paint, and that's what the Spurs give up. Maybe Luka's not 100%, and Kristaps kind of keeps it going, or the game's just close and goes to overtime, or whatever. I'm going to have some, especially paired with Luka and some San Antonio coming back. I like LMA. I love Julius Randle. Surprise, surprise. Blake Griffin's kind of interesting. I'm gonna play 10% of him. There's the coach said that he's mostly a decoy. That he's clearly not 100% from his injury, and he's been shooting terribly. And um, you know, but if that was really, really true, I just don't think they'd play him, right? So I'm a little skeptical on that. I think that might be a little coach speak, motivation, that kind of shit. So I'm going to play a little bit of Blake. It's a nut spot, nut pace, nut opponent, and his price just kind of continues to dwindle. Like, now no one's going to play him. I wouldn't play much of him. I got him capped at 10%, but I'm going to ensure that I get that 10% just in case he does do the dirty to his neighbor. Love Marvin Bagley at 53. Cool with Carmelo. Cool with Jaren Jackson. Rayshawn Holmes has been dirtying since Bagley came back. I've been playing Bagley over him every game, and he's done just as well or better. Then we got some more thin value for you. Bobby Portis, I think he's kind of increasing his minutes. His coach likes him a little bit more, sees that he should be playing him. Maybe the game blows out one direction or the other and he gets blowout run. And Bobby Portis' blowout run is a special, special thing in DFS. We haven't seen much of it in a while, but it'll come. Scal Labossiere, very, very thin, but he's a high point per minute guy. And, maybe Hassan gets into foul trouble against Gobert. That's all I got.
That's all you need, baby.
Oh, you know what? I got a question for you. You think Mike Muscala would see any extra minutes with Gallo out?
It's possible, but has he been? Because
He
Gallo
only played 8 last game.
Yeah, I mean that would just be like a freak situation. I think if he did, like somebody got hurt, somebody got hurt, or somebody got hurt, something like that.
Yeah.
Power forwards.
Someone got tossed.
Or tossed, yeah. Julius Randle, I love also. I was ready. I liked him a little bit more if Morris was out, obviously, but I still like him. I know we like a lot of Knicks. That's never a good thing, but today it's like all the signs we're going down hard. But all the signs point us there, and like you got to have that short-term memory bullshit. And this isn't about like you playing them for the right reasons. I think we are. It's a phenomenal matchup, pace-up spot, prices are all good, so doing it. And if I get dirty, I'm just gonna be like, yeah, that's what the Knicks do. But we talked about Melo and Morris. To be honest, those 3 guys on DraftKings, it's it. On FanDuel, there's other guys like Marvin Bagley I have interest in on both sides. Kristaps Porzingis I'll have some of. I think a lot of people are going to bail on him because Luka's back. And if for any reason Luka is somewhat limited, say he only plays 32 minutes instead of his 34, 35, 36, like Porzingis was already playing like not consistently well, but he's shown you he can do well with Luka, obviously. We've seen them do that. So I'm not ready to completely bail on him. After that, the other guys are just like, like I'll play a little bit of Bielitsa only because I have Bagley, and you got to figure one of those guys is going to get the run. We saw Bagley started last game, but Bielitsa got more minutes, so we'll have to kind of feel that out. But either way, it's exposure to that game, and that's what I want, exposure to that game. 30s and 7s, 37. Let's go over to center, son, all the way through as usual.
Yep. Andre Drummond, if Blake truly is the decoy, it's against Washington and they're no size. He should smash here. Plus, he's probably starting to try to prop himself up for the trade deadline. But Hassan Whiteside, I absolutely love. Rudy Gobert is not going to run him off the court, so he should be in there for a lot of minutes guarding Gobert. And he's just an elite shot blocker, rebounder, and the scoring kind of comes with that. Expect the game to be close, although Utah usually doesn't play very close games. But this game should be close. At least that's what I think. And his price is just too low for, the only flaw is if he gets in the foul trouble, right? Rudy Gobert is expensive, but centers have been killing Whiteside. He does suck at defense. But at 8,900, there's just not much on the bone. Raw points wise, does make sense, and on this slate, that might be enough. The mid tier though is kind of juicy. You got Jared Allen. who can go for 50. The Knicks do defend center well. Be interesting to see if Mitchell Robinson starts again. One of these centers for Brooklyn probably does well. Whoever sees the least amount of Mitch Rob. Steven Adams with Gallo off the court against Memphis, seeing a big usage increase. Like, he's been playing a lot better of late. I'll have some of him. Joval has been doing dirt. Steven Adams has become a terrible defender, and we've seen Joval go for 60s when he's on. Mitch Robinson, Brooklyn's back to getting murdered by centers. The shots should be blocked. He has a chance for a ceiling game. John Mahinmi for value. DeAndre Jordan went for 50 DraftKings in 25 minutes in his last game against Atlanta. He's really been playing well when he gets time. Not going to have a ton, but, if you had ownership to him when he went for that 50 at 5K, you'd be happy. And there's, no reason why he couldn't do this. And it's his former team. He was there for a cup of coffee last season. So, maybe there's extra motivation, 5% play. Nerlens Noel for value. Dwight Powell for value. Ansej Pascanix for value at 37. Jakob Poeltl for value. I do like centers against Dallas. That's probably my favorite value play that I just kind of realized. I was kind of like, I need value. Like, there ain't nothing down here, but value sucks on this slate. So it feels more mid-tier-ish, balanced build kind of day for me.
100%, man. I mean, obviously things could change. News can change. Even having the Shabazz Napier news would be big for me. Like, it's a guy I'd be willing to go heavy on if I knew for sure he was playing. But the fact that game is so late, and I do like McLaughlin if Shabazz is out, but not as much as I like Shabazz if Shabazz is in. So with that said, most of my builds are going to be balanced, and that's a big part of what kind of forces me on teams like Portland, the Knicks, a lot of these teams that already have that balanced build pricing. It just kind of works. So I'm with it, man. I like where we're at. As far as the centers go, Whiteside, one of my favorite actual centers on the slate, going up against Gobert, and I don't expect him to be like crazy popular because I think people still have a stigma against Gobert, like he's a good defender, just because he's big and he blocks shots. But Joval is kind of interesting. You mentioned against Adams. I'm with that. Potential bring back if you are playing a lot of OKC. Andre Drummond obviously is a guy you're going to want to grab some of. Whether Blake is a decoy or not, it's a smash spot for Big, smash spot for Drummond, who is playing well, unlike Blake. Adams is another player. Like him and Noel, I have split at about 15 each because just because these guys, they're missing somebody, but if Adams is playing like shit, they'll just go to Noel and vice versa. So it's hard to take a bigger stance. I'm more interested in the guards in that particular situation. Not to mention Joval. I remember when Joval was in Toronto, there was a huge difference in games that Joval started and played 30 minutes and when Ibaka did. There's a pretty big difference. Joval is a big body, kind of gets in the way, and neither of these centers are like super finesse type players that Joval couldn't keep up with defensively. So I'm not as high on the situation. Jared Allen is another guy from Brooklyn you can get some exposure to. It's possible DeAndre Jordan's needed defensively, but either way, Allen's the one with the upside. He's the one with any real, upside between those two. So he's the one you're going to want in tournaments. But I'm with you, bro. That's pretty much it. That's where I'm at. Like I said, obviously Randall and some of these guys are going to take up that spot for me as well. But that's going to do it. We'll answer some questions for a little bit here. If you have questions, we're going to start with the WiseStream chat. So if you're subscribed to WiseTake.com and you're in the WiseStream chat, if you have questions, fire away. And then we will move on to some of the YouTube chats if we have time. And then after that, it'll be Injury Feed City. We'll switch the cameras off in about 5-10 minutes, go over and let the feed play while we all adjust our teams, adjust our exposures, wait for any injury news to come out. And, I say dumb shit, and everybody wonders if I'm still on the air. Everybody wonders if I'm high on something and, all that good stuff, because those are the good times. That's what we live for. So
those are the good times.
It's obviously why, the people come to watch the show. Real quick, if you are watching the show, please smash the like button, guys. They just come to hear me say dumb shit. That's it. But smash the like button, guys. Likes go a long way, really help us out. We're trying to put as much content on YouTube as we can, trying to build up the channel. So if you can help us out, hit the like button. It allows us to continue to do these shows and motivates us to continue to do these shows for free. So help us out. Smash the like.
I'm doing it.
Tell a friend.
I'm hitting the like button.
Jobbies, hobbies.
I'm just going to press it, though. I'm not going to smash it.
You need to ultimately smash it, bro. I want to see some kung fu status. Like, when they smash their head through the board? I'm trying to see you do that to your keyboard, bro. Like, pick up your mouse and just clack, you know what I mean? Like, let's go. Just kidding. Anybody who's watching, do not do that, please. That's the last thing I need right now. Motherfuckers hit me up. You told my husband to smash his head with a mouse. That's the last thing.
And the motherfucker did it. Well, you need a new husband.
Oh, check this out. Luka Doncic won't have a minutes limit. Interesting.
Of course not. He's
It's
gonna do the dirt.
It's Luka Doncic. How much Luka you plan on playing today? I want to play more, bro. I want to make him on FanDuel.
35.
To be clear, on FanDuel, I would be playing him a ton because he's like 10-5. It's just ridiculous. And on DraftKings, he's more expensive, but I don't really care. It's more about on FanDuel, I can get builds easier with him in there that don't look as bad. Like Garrett Temple, I forgot to mention on FanDuel, is a phenomenal value play on FanDuel. Garrett Temple.
The only problem is there's not enough value to get a really good lineup around them. Right.
That's the only issue. It's not him.
That's it. It's not him.
Real quick, let's go over a couple cash game things. I know Rocksteady likes to do the DK cash. Paulie D's cheat sheet highlights a lot of the cash plays, but
in green.
What do you? So to me, I be playing Elf and cash on both sides personally.
Indeed,
McKee.
For sure. I'd be getting exposure to one of the guards or Memphis. More, but definitely one on the other team.
Thunder. OKC. I keep doing that. It looks like, from what I understand, Paul is like the more optimal. And on our projections too, our projections like Paul more too. That's just because that's what he does. But in the minutes for him, but yeah. So I'm with you on that. What else? What else you got there?
I think Andre Drummond is a pretty formidable cash play.
Yes, right? Love that. Definitely, I would definitely be playing Drummond in cash. Yes.
I think, if you really wanted to, I wouldn't hate you if you got some Brad Beal in cash.
Sure.
I mean, price tag is high, but like if you can't get to Luka, then Brad Beal has a pretty high floor.
Yeah.
I personally think that Dinwiddie is cash viable too.
Sure.
But I don't know, the industry would agree with me, but that usage, looks good to me.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think him and Beal are like that different. I understand Beal's missing everyone, but his price has gotten up to an uncomfortable point also. So they're both up to a point where you're uncomfortable with the price, but they both have respectable usage that just commands respect on their names.
Respect on his name.
On the names and the salaries. Just do.
Right.
Just do. Let's see. J. Irv, our boy J. Irv got a little question. Fox or Paul? De'Aaron Fox or Chris Paul? That's a good question.
SGA, but Chris Paul.
I think Paul is probably the right answer. He's the optimal answer. There's a situation there in which he's getting a boost that his price does not account for. It's a great matchup against Memphis. It's just Chris Paul has done me so dirty. You know me, I always used to love Chris Paul, man. That was my dude, man. I used to love playing that guy, and then things went bad, much like his relationship with Harden. It just kind of went down the tubes. That is a very even kill question. Fox going to have, they're going to be similarly owned. Don't get me wrong. Fox is 7K. People are onto that. It's not no sneaky thing. People are looking at that. But yeah, I think Paul is the right answer just because of the expected usage increase, potential minutes increase, and phenomenal.
Was that question for cash or just?
I think it was no. I think it was just a general for John.
Yeah.
I mean, in cash though, it's still Paul. Or is it for you in tournaments? Do you switch?
In cash, it's definitely Paul.
Yeah. In cash, it's definitely.
In cash, it's definitely Paul.
Look here. Take a look here. Extra dirty with a side of dirt. Love it. Any interest in B Elite's Revenge?
B Elite's.
Yeah, it's not a thing I'm going out of my way. Again, I'm going to have some because I have some Bagley, so I feel like one of those two because they're eating into each other's minutes more so than Holmes, believe it or not. But yeah, I'm not going out of my way to get a ton of him. I think he's okay though. He's gonna have that position might have Covington on. I don't know. Covington is the one thing Covington's done well his whole career is defense. But yeah, I'm cool with him. Bagley 5'3", DeRozan 65 seem underpriced. Yes. Paul Schroeder or SGA. Which two on DraftKings?
Paul Schroeder, SGA. Definitely SGA. and then probably Chris Paul for me.
Yeah, that is tough. I lean a little more towards Schroeder in SGA, but again, I just explained my recent bias that I've acquired for Chris Paul. Paulie's probably giving you the optimal answer with Chris Paul and SGA. But I think we can agree that all three of those guys we are going to have some form of exposure to.
Yeah.
Right.
Would you play all three in a lineup?
I would, because the pricing is soft enough.
I would.
I mean, I'd have to bring it back at that point. Like I don't have to bring it back always. But if I got 3 or 4 players from one team, then I probably want to bring it back. I probably want to. You know what I mean? If it's a choice. You know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's see. Boom. Yeah, that's it for the questions for now. All right, I'm gonna flip over to the injury feed. This is something that our WiseTake members get access to all the time. This is one of the channels of many in our Slack chat. This one is an NBA injuries feed where we get injury news feeding in through this for WiseTake Nation subscribers at wisetake.com. Only available for monthly subscribers or higher. We have day passes for content that does not come with the Slack chat access. We got a bunch of channels. We got one for NFL, all these different things, and of course we have channels where we discuss things and whatnot. And again, those of you watching, I see a bunch of you watching now. If you could smash that like button, goes a long way as we wait this out together. Hopefully we get some important news that we can discuss. In the meantime, Paulie, we're just going to kind of chill here, ask each other some questions. I'll field some questions as I'm updating projections, as we're building our teams. But let's get this going, man. I'm getting motivated. Everybody in the chat is talking about how we got to do the dirty tonight. And the dirty got to be done. And dirty with a side of dirty. Like, that's what I'm talking about, man. That's what it's all about right there. That's what the community aspect is all about. You know what I mean?
Dirty with a side of dirty. I like that.
Let's go. Bro, I told you about that dude that said that shit about me the other day. Oh, my God.
Yeah.
That was hysterical.
Yeah, that was amazing.
Oh,
shout out to that person.
Shout out to that
dissing
dude.
CK.
Dissing me, bro.
It was retarded and, mean, but it gave us a good laugh.
It did.
So
you can respect the humor of things. It's all you got in life sometimes is that, But yeah, shout out to you for shitting on everything. It was cool. It was fun. It gave us a good laugh. Gave us a good laugh on Christmas morning. It was nice to wake up to.
yeah, on Christmas too.
A little dirty Christmas present, you know what I mean? Yeah, buddy.
Yeah. Dirty. That was definitely dirty with a side of dirty.
Yeah. Quick shout out to the nation, WiseTake Nation subscribers. I did update my core. Made a small change. And again, just to remind you, the player that I moved out of the core, I still like him. But with the emergence of another player, I prefer him, I think, as far as core play. So I lowered my exposure a little bit. But go check it out if you got access. And if you don't give a damn, then it's all good. You're good. Oh, Gallinari going to be out for 3 games, at least 3 games. Luka. I'll say this also about Luka, Paulie, is the balance build. Even if you look at different ownership projections, the balance build is clearly the chalk build. So by playing Luka, you're going to have a contrarian build. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? It's going to happen.
Yeah.
Plotting.
Yeah. Earth is my planet. Which game would you rather game stack? Dallas, San Antonio, or Minnesota, Sacramento?
I think Dallas, San Antonio.
All right.
That's a tough one, though. It's a tough one.
Yeah.
Minnesota's been the drizzling shits without Cat, though. Can we talk about that for a second? They've been awful. Yeah. They got destroyed by Golden State.
I mean, how can they be good?
No, of course. They suck with
got no size.
Did you hear the rumors about Cat maybe getting traded for the Knicks?
What? Oh, my God. I would love Cat on the Knicks.
There's nothing like concrete. Oh. It's just like the Knicks have apparently leaked that they may be interested in trading for a free, instead of signing a free agent, they may be interested in trading for one because they have all these 1-year contracts. So they want to look for like a disgruntled star, and they think maybe, Cat's from New Jersey, he's from Metuchen, which is only like 20, 30 minutes from me. And he grew up a huge Knicks fan. So they're thinking maybe, instead of sucking over there, you could just suck here and, at home. So we'll see.
And that would make, this a more attractive landing spot for someone else.
Right. Yeah. Not Jimmy Butler.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that. Not him.
No. I don't know. I want the Knicks to get James Harden, but that ain't never happening.
Man. That's just the dream, though. That's just the dream.
That is a dream.
LD's got a question here. Our boy LD here. What do we think about Donovan Mitchell in tournaments?
He's all right. He feels more of a cash game play to me. Jordan Clarkson may steal some usage. Someone who actually does want to shoot the rock. He doesn't do much. I think, he will be low owned. I can say that. And he does every now and then go for 60. And, today would be kind of a day where he did do it when it's like a 6-game slate and I still don't have much of him. So, yeah, I can accept a tad of him, but I'm not really that into it.
Yeah, I have, I think, like 10 to 15%. And it's not so much that I don't like him as much as I like the other guys over there around him. Like Dinwiddie,
Yeah.
and we talked about Beal as far as spend ups. And then I like the mid tier so much. DeRozan 6,500. Give me that.
Give me that good shit
The
stuff.
gushy stuff. Uh-huh. See what I'm ending up with here. Let's see. Yo, how much RJ Barrett are you?
I'm playing all those Knicks, the 4-core Knicks, over 30%.
30. 30 doing 30s.
Yeah.
30 living.
What up, Rainbow? What's poppin'?
Rain Beezy. Yo, how much? So, between Chris Paul, SGA, Schroeder, I'm assuming you're going to have the most of SGA.
Yes.
So, what is the order there? I mean, I know we asked earlier.
40, 30, 20, SGA, Paul, Schroeder.
Oh, man. That's a stance right there. That's what I'm talking about. Go get it. Get the gushy.
What's so stancy about it?
Oh, I'm saying 40% on one of them because, they're all three in a good spot. That's all. You know what I mean? Like, I find myself having a harder time, like, separating one. I like SGA too more, but I don't know if it's like 10 to 20% more. I think it's more like 5% apart more because it's such a good spot for all of them. You know what I mean? And he's going ham too. I think last time SGA and Schroeder both went nuts. And Paul kind of didn't get there. Paul did fine. His price was higher, so it just wasn't as pretty.
Yeah.
But you always expect something a little different the next time, right? It's almost never the exact same of how it went the first time. So that's what makes me hesitant to separate it that much,
Yeah, okay. So maybe I'll do 40, 32, and 25.
Yeah, I think that's probably somewhere where I'm at, like, or as far as the separation. Like, I still like SGA the most, but I mean, definitely a situation we how much Fox are you playing?
Fox, 30. I just have a lot of those guards. I don't have a ton of room at guard. Like, I've got Dinwiddie at 40%. I've got DeRozan, who does have some forward eligibility, but him at 40%. I've got SGA at 40%. I've got Elf around 40%.
Yeah.
Teague I got at 20. I've got Chris Paul at 25. So, De'Aaron Fox is going to probably land between 20 and 30. Thank you.
Oh, makes sense. It is a loaded ass tier for sure. Loaded tier.
Loaded tier. Drink my beer.
That we do that. I hear the vibration as if I'm getting some news. I gotta check. As soon as 35.6.
Give me that good stuff.
Bangzilla. Let's see if we got anything in here. Pistons will start Tim Frazier, Svi Malachuk, Snell, Griffin, and Drummond. So Bruce Brown, they said, is available to play or is going to try to play if they're starting Tim Frazier.
He's not starting. Yeah. I think we should assume he doesn't play.
Yeah. I mean, even if he does,
at least
not
have
much,
some builds,
right?
assuming he doesn't play.
Right.
Yeah.
So what does that do for you? Yeah. Are you interested in Frazier or Svi at all? I know Drummond and Blake you will, but what about those two?
Svi, yes. Yeah. All of them, it's my least favorite game on the slate, but it does have big upside, when we saw this game go the fuck off recently. So I will say Svi at 15%, Galloway at 10, something like that.
Yeah. No, I think that makes sense. Svi played like 32 minutes that last game, man. And this is a slate where, again,
Yeah,
not that I love him as a player, but we need the value if we can make it work. It'll help you get
yeah,
some more of the Luka shares or something to be different, get some upside. Just curious some of that.
yeah.
Let's get it. Let's get it.
Get down, get down.
Any interest in Frazier?
Not really, but maybe I should have a little. What's his price?
He's 35 on DraftKings.
Yeah, he's worth a shot. He really is. Sometimes he goes the fuck off. The small slate, why not?
Yeah, I mean, that would support your theory that Bruce Brown doesn't play a lot or at all.
Yeah.
Because he's the direct impact player.
Yeah. Player hater.
I hate that. I'm gonna try to play. Well, your coach evidently felt like you weren't good enough to start. So why are you gonna help your team with injured calves if you can't even start?
Yeah, probably not.
Are you really that big of an upgrade over Tim Frazier?
Definitely not.
Boom, 30s and 70s.
Oh yeah, he is. He is when he's healthy. But today probably not.
Right. I mean exactly. I mean today, and we get another notification that he's available to play. He's just not in the starting lineup. So
yeah.
What are you gonna do? 7-3-2. Boom. I gotta update his minutes though, because I mean, if he's starting, he's gonna see more than the 10 minutes that I thought he was gonna play.
Indeed.
Let's see. Let's say around let's see what it does. See what it does.
Thank you.
I'm different. Yeah, I'm different.
Thank you.
Grab a little bit. Not a lot. Just a little bit. Help get those Luka shares, you know.
Yeah, true that. I'm actually glad you said that. I'm not sure how much Luka I got.
It definitely always feels like
a
good idea to be overweight on Luka. Every day, there's very rarely a slate where I woke up and I'm like, I think I want to be underweight on Luka today.
It needs to be a very deep slate.
Deep.
You know?
Deepington.
I mean, I am having to force this fucking projection high to the sky to get much of him, but that is what it is, you know?
Tis what it is. Tis what it will be.
Give me some more Lukovic, please.
Lukovic, please, plays for me.
Give me 22%. I can dig that. Not yet.
Luka, I think I'm sitting at around 25 right now. I'm just debating if I want to make the move to 30, but if he's not going to be that popular, I may not have to do that. You know, I may be overweight enough. Just trying to gauge on what I truly believe his ownership will be.
Yeah. And I mean, that's 7.5 more teams, right? So it's like, you know, if you got him at 30, then he's what? It's 45 teams. If he's 25, he's at 38 teams. Like, you know, I think either one is totes fine.
Agreed. 20. We got 19 minutes to lock, Nation. 19 minutes to lock. I'll see if there's any questions. Checking the WiseTake chat first. MG thinks that he'll be around 20. Okay, we got a question here from Nina for the tray. Can I take Bags and Bielitsa or just one?
I'd rather have just one. They really do not correlate. They kind of really are one hurts the other while they're on the court. They're not going to play much together. But you could if you were stacking more from those games.
Yeah, I agree. I'm not like. I think you can, especially if you're like if I'm building 150 teams. I'm not setting a rule. Don't play them together. But I also prefer to have one just because, especially lately, they've been playing each other's position. And they've been, it's one thing when
Yeah.
you got guys that are 4K or guys that have massive usage, but these are guys that I once seen Bielitsa score 18 DraftKings points in the first quarter and finish with a 23. So it's not like he's
Yeah.
commanding that usage. Yep, I said it. Don't be weird about it.
You got any other lineups out yet?
We got the Pistons. I think we had the Knicks lineup. It's what it was before Taj and them guys were hurt. It's except Elf is starting. Elf, RJ Barrett, Marcus Morris.
No Mitch Rob.
No Mitch Rob. He's not starting.
Mitch Rob's coming off the bench.
Correct.
All right, that's a boost in my opinion to Jared Allen.
Agreed. Shot caller. See what it is, though. See what it is, though.
Yeah.
$25 with Luka does fit nice. So maybe I'll rock with this. If I can get the 30, that'd be ideal, but I don't hate where I'm at with 25.
Yeah. The guard's deep, so you push 5 of him, you got to give, 5 of someone else up.
Right. It's going to take away from someone. That's how the dirty is done.
FanDuel sent me this offer. If I play $10, they'll give me $10. So I'm building a team on FanDuel tonight.
Holla.
I got to remember. Yeah.
FanDuel on their marketing grind.
Yeah, trying to get me back over. And I've been meaning to go back over there because I want to start playing that 5-cent mini max every day.
Yeah.
$7.50 for 150 teams. I've seen 500 up top. I've seen 600 up top.
Right.
But no reason not to for $7.50 jump in that tournament every day.
Yeah, I agree. Agreedo.
That's like bankroll building 101. Put $100 on it. Play $7.50 a day. It should last you the whole season.
Boom. All day. Do you have any interest in Tarian Prince at all?
A little. I think I have like 10% of him.
Yeah.
I like Harris too.
Yeah.
You got Wilson Chandler there. It's a little crowded, but
yeah,
I do
but
like
for
him.
tournaments, it makes sense. Variance goes your way, and they could really help you with a lot of things that you're missing today. Again, like to reiterate, Garrett Temple on FanDuel is like 4K, playing 30-something minutes a game, taking double-digit shot attempts. Wild.
Right.
Wild. There is one, like, do you have any interest in Mahinmi at all? I only ask because he played 28 minutes against the Knicks.
Yeah, little. Yeah.
Right? Like, I'm going to need him with Drum Dog. Don't have a lot of value. Like, nothing I'll be willing to take a major stance on, but.
Yeah.
How desperate are you for somebody? He's 4A. It's not like he's mega cheap. Would you play? I know we talked about Gary Payton not wanting to play him on DraftKings. I don't know. I don't even know if we talked about that on the show, but we talked about how he had 6 steals and he was super efficient from the field and he played hard like no other. So I'm not trying to downplay him as a player necessarily, but on DraftKings, I know you and I aren't terribly interested. What about on FanDuel where he's 4K? Would you have interest in him there?
A little.
Yeah, a little. I like Troy Brown a lot more.
A little.
I'll tell you that. I mean, Troy Brown's probably fine. He's fine regardless, but on FanDuel, he's 5K over there. It just seems dirty.
Yeah.
Here we go. About 13 minutes from lock, Nation. About 13 minutes from lock. A quiet lead up. Only one game starting at 7, so it makes sense. Again, just another point without late swap. Like I understand the benefits of late swap for casual players for sure. Like, you know, you and I, Paul, even when the slate ends, we still have to kind of like, you might be at a restaurant, you got to have your laptop with you, be ready to make some pivots. It's like, you know what I mean? Like on FanDuel, at least you wouldn't have to worry about that. Obviously, money means too much to us to just take an L on a player like on FanDuel that you have to do sometimes. But
especially if it's a rule out, you know, if like it's like someone else say like Cat got ruled in and I have 20% of Wiggins, maybe I just leave that, you know, right. But if Wiggins gets ruled out and I got 20%, I'm not taking that L. That ain't happening.
Right. It's just too much. Too much.
And your best team has that 0. It's got 335 points and a 0. Then you're going to be sucking on it hard all night, you know? For tomorrow's buy-in.
It's true. Not a good situation to be in. This is probably the earliest, being that we have 11 minutes to lock. This is probably the earliest I've ever had my teams built and felt like, you know what, I like this. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't happen for me this early in the game. Man, I got a lot of Excel files to delete. Oh shit.
That Excel life.
Oh my gosh, bro! It gets confusing too if you don't stay on top of that shit. It gets confusing. Get real confusing. Download it. Oh man, bro, the Saturday slates are the worst because you go to export it from like Cruncher or something, and you click like the wrong slate, and you're like, it won't work. What's going on?
Yeah.
Those are the worst.
And you're sitting there with your dick in your hands.
Yep, nowhere to put them either. So what do I do with this thing? Just sitting there. It's cold too. Get some shrinkage action going down. Then what do you do?
I heard it's like 50 degrees up by you.
During the day it is, but then at nighttime it gets cold again. But yeah, during the day, yesterday and pretty much today too. Yeah, it's like it's been mild,
Mutations.
Man. It's been mild. Like I could dig it. But at nighttime, you fall asleep. You know, you're like, oh yeah, no problem. It's gonna be a nice day. I need a jacket. And then you leave the person's house or wherever you at. You leave there at night, and it's a whole different ball game, man. We're talking about the shrivels, horde, real horde.
The shrivel life.
That's right.
All right.
That's right.
I'm up 2, and I have 25% Luka. That's what I wanted. My top 5 exposures are Randall, Whiteside, DeRozan, Shai Gilgeous, Elf.
Correct. I see a couple questions here. Is Beal chalk? I don't think he's going to be any more chalky than some of these other guys. I think we're going to see a lot of guys competing for that 20 to 30 to 40% role. But I wouldn't classify him as the chalk. I would just say he's another player that's going to be about 20% owned or so, I would think.
Agree.
Let's see. Do you like Jaren Jackson Jr. at all? That is a player we have not mentioned.
A little, but I prefer Joe Val.
Yeah, I definitely think the situation for him is an upgrade with no Gallo. I'll say that because Gallo is likely to draw some fouls, I think. And Basley's not terribly active, so that bodes better for him. Yeah, I think that's somewhat of an upgrade. I have too many guys over him. I have a lot of high exposure to that position, to those positions specifically. So I'm definitely not, I don't have a ton, but it is what it is. You got to take stands. Can't play everybody. Willie Hoops. Oh, here we go. What do y'all think of Jordan McLaughlin from Min? We did talk about him a little bit. That all depends on Napier, I think. Like Napier's got to be out. He was out last time.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, he may play a little bit anyway. Maybe he's earned his way into that. But without Napier being out,
yeah, you just don't know.
At 4K, yeah. If he was min price, maybe.
Right.
But if Napier does get ruled out, I would want 10 to 12% of him.
Yeah, agreed. Willie Hoop says way too much.
Napier's only dealing with an illness, though. And that's been going on for a while. So I think he's
Napier's sick every other month, it seems like. Willie Hoop says way too much dead air time. That's the point of the show, bro. We got breakdowns. We got core fours. We got breakdowns middays, just game by games. This is the whole point, man. We did the breakdown. Now we're here to react to the news, bro. This is us building our teams. Y'all building y'all's teams. Some news come action. We tell you the news broke. It's a quiet news slate. It's only 6 games.
Ask a question.
That's it. Ask a question.
We'll answer it.
Ask a question. Here's a question: Marcus Morris, Andre Drummond, and Bagley, or DDR, Jared Allen, and Wiggins.
Okay, say that again.
Marcus Morris, Andre Drummond, and Bagley, or DeMar DeRozan, Jared Allen, and Wiggins.
The first one.
Yeah, I'd lean towards the first one too. I love DeRozan, but I also really like Drummond and Morris, so I'll pick 2 over 1. So I would pick that one, I think.
Yeah.
7 minutes to lock, nation. 7 minutes to lock. Your teams are ready. I've never been this ready for a slate to start. It feels dirty.
Ready.
Just dirty.
Yeah.
How much Svi and Frazier did you end up playing? Anything?
Good question to be answered with
A dirty drop.
Tim Frazier, I have 7%, and Svi, I guess he's not point guard eligible.
No, I don't think so.
Mahachuk, I got 2% Mahachuk. I am gonna raise that. I'm glad you asked.
Those says I'm looking at I got 15% of both, and that's really because I ended up raising Luka up to around 30 or so to be overweight, and I still have a really good exposure to the mid tier, so I'm happy with it. It's do I really want to be at 50% of those 2 guys? No, but relative to what other values on the slate, I don't mind it so much. Why not?
Yep.
If it helps me get Luka on a couple extra teams. In the meantime, majority of my builds, my core, everything is definitely balanced. Definitely. 6 minutes to lock, nation. 6 minutes to lock.
How much Damian Lillard did you play?
I got 20% of Dame. I had 30 initially, but over time slowly came down to 20. I still like that Portland situation. I'm just realizing I don't have to be as heavy on it to be overweight.
Right.
So I've got 20% of him. I got around say 20% McCollum. Melo's obviously the one I have the most. Melo and Whiteside I have more of in that situation. But I do have a good amount of them. Here's a question. Gary Payton or Jordan McRae? I'm assuming that's a FanDuel thing because they're similarly priced over there.
Yeah. On DraftKings, it's McRae. On FanDuel, it's tight. I think McRae, personally. He only had a hand injury. He's, he was there. He's good. Gary Payton Jr., although is decent, and I wasn't surprised that he balled out the other day. He wasn't in the player pool. Otherwise, I would have had some. I'm all right. I just think they want to play McRae more than him. So I'd say McRae in both.
Yeah.
But definitely on.
I agree. Here's another question. Brooks and Bagley or Prince and Portis?
Brooks and Bagley.
Yeah, I agree.
For sure.
I agree with that one. 4 minutes to Lockington. Yeah, LD also. LD lives really close to me. Warm for New Jersey, yes. It's been very warm for New Jersey. Very, very, very warm for New Jersey. But we're not complaining, right? We're just taking it and just rolling with it and just living life. That's what we're doing. Global warming, all that stuff, you know.
If Karl Anthony Towns gets ruled in, how much of him you gonna get?
That's a great question. Probably still not a ton. Maybe like I work in a way to get 5 to 10%, only because I'm worried about his knee. You know, like I respect the raw points upside. I respect his upside. I respect the price. I actually think the price isn't bad at all for the matchup, but it's a little concerned about the knee.
Yeah, same here.
That's the side that's hard to get exposure to is the Minnesota side because that news is everything for that team.
Yeah.
So, like, if I late swap today, it's going to be probably on to Minnesota players. But hopefully, I don't take away. Late swapping always ends up getting me off another guy, and then I don't realize it happened, and then dirty's done to me. Haha, joke's on me. Haha. Not funny, though. It kind of is. The scramble is on. The mind scramble is on.
The scramble. Yeah, I'm just like, because we were locked in so early, you get to like really analyze who you have, who you don't. I'm like, damn, I'm a little low. A couple of these motherfuckers, I only had 1% of Donovan Mitchell. Like, that's a little too low on a 6-game slate,
Yeah, no, it's low. I don't have much of him, though, to be honest. Like, I wanted to. I ended up raising on other guys. I think I have like 5% of him. And honestly, I want more. I'm just not willing to sacrifice the other guys to where, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, I'm just not ready to make that commitment.
It is a commitment. You have commitment issues?
I guess it depends, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't really want to commit to an answer either way. Who are your top 5 highest on?
The Knicks, within short, but no. Elf, Payton, Randall, Morris, DeRozan, and Melo, I think, right now are the guys I have the most of right now.
Melo, huh?
Carshmello, man, I'm going.
Where you at with Hassan Whiteside? You not like him as much as I do?
No, I do. He's my highest on center, actually.
Okay. Where you at with Spencer Dinwiddie?
Dinwiddie, I got around 20% of, same as Beal. I just like that position. It's just so loaded.
Yeah, it is.
And I have 30% Luka on top of that, which is cutting into some of the guards.
Some of them others. Yeah.
Yep. There we go. If I do this, that'll raise me to... What did I just do? Oh, I know what I did. Yeah, I could do that. Okay. I just made a change, and I forgot what I actually changed for a second. What? We're good. 1 minute.
So we got San Antonio, Dallas televised, and then Portland, Utah televised. That Portland, Utah game, I made sure to get game stacks of. Like, I wouldn't be shocked if that game goes off because it's real close, sneaks into overtime, some shit like that.
I agree. I'm just higher on the Portland side because of the usage situation, and you could argue the same. Conley's out, but
but he's been out.
Right. But yeah, as far as the usage goes, it's pretty clear that those 4 Portland guys are just doing everything over there. So, and if they're not expensive, I'll always be willing to jump in. Our projections pointed us that way because that's what they've been doing.
Who's your second highest net owned, or top 2 highest owned nets?
Dinwiddie is number 1. I think Allen is number 2, but I feel like I just added somebody else. I think Allen is number 2. Yeah, he's his It's Allen.
Toilet paper? Yeah, it's Allen.
Yeah.
All right. That's
Lockington. Appreciate all you guys who rocked with us going all the way through and tuned in. That's going to do it for us today. We'll be back at it tomorrow on Friday with some more action as well as other DFS content. Like the video. Do the dirty. Tell your neighbors to be on alert. And also tell them about us. They might be interested in the WiseTake Nation. Paulie, anything to close before we get up out of here?
No, good luck tonight, everyone. Do the dirt. You know how we do. We'll see you soon.
For Paulie D, for myself, the entire WiseTake Nation, as always, good luck.
Yeah.